everybody, this is Richard Whalen, owner and broker of the Imagination Brokerage. I'm absolutely thrilled to have my lead listing agent, Kristan Hollibaugh, here with me today, and her husband, Doug. Together, they are the real estate team that truly cares. And so today we're going to talk a bit about who they are, how they met. We're going to talk about what it means to be a realtor that truly cares, and also some of the work that goes in behind the scenes to actually deliver on that care. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Well, thanks for having us. Yes.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So Doug, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, I started out as fixing cars, at used car lots, and then moved my way up to a transmission shop, and then eventually I opened my own transmission shop. I had that for about a decade. That played itself out, and then went into the car dealership business. Worked as a technician for a couple of years, and then I became a service advisor and did that for about a decade. And now here I am with my wife trying to do real estate.
Well, one of the things that immediately comes across about you is how straightforward you are. Like, you seem like somebody that is just going to give you the straight truth and, just tell it like it is. I mean, is that how you would describe yourself?
Yes. When you work with transmissions, you got one way and one way only. There is no other option. If you don't do it right, it's completely wrong. And it costs thousands of dollars.
Sure. Yeah.
So I've learned to do things one way, the right way, the first time. And that's how I've just lived life.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we've been really looking forward to in your collaboration with each other is just sort of like bringing that perfect combination of a really sort of gentle, caring touch and the more all right, like this, numbers. This guy's a lying, cheating fool. No.
Let's hope we don't have to come across that.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Now, all right, so you two actually have kind of an interesting story about your romance. I was wondering if you could just kind of tell a little bit about how and when you first met, and then how you guys reconnected.
Do you want me to take that, or do you want to take that, honey?
You can take it. I'm afraid, but you can take it.
We went to school together, junior high, and we hung out in the same crowd and everything. And then we had our, I guess, relationship way back then, and then we had life and went our separate ways. Many years later, I saw her face on Facebook. I said, well, let's become friends. And now we're married. Here we are.
Well, hey, you know what? That actually is a great segue into the fact that social media is a really important, thing today, because it brings us together, keeps us connected, and you never know what could come out of it, either business or a new, friendship, or the new love of your life.
Right. Well, and that is very much a fact, because I had a lot of people in Nebraska that I became friends with, and I have lots of friends in Nebraska still that I'm in contact with kind of regularly, I guess you'd say. Do we talk every day? No, but I get to see what they're doing. They get to see what I'm doing. So we do keep contact that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
All right. Now, Kristan, our audience has already had the chance to get to know you a little bit. Actually, one of the very first videos that I shot in this studio was your interview, and, trying to introduce people to you, our lead listing agent. And, if I may, we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I just wanted to show the audience your Facebook page here. And this pin video right here, it's amazing the positive reactions we had to this video right away. All these comments, from people who already knew you, but also just like some friends and family of ours who saw this. I remember my Bree's mom was like, "Oh my gosh, she's amazing! You got her to work at your company." So, I don't know. I guess reflecting back now, because now that was a couple years ago, we've had some crazy times, in the industry.
Yes.
Since then.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you kind of talk a little bit about kind of what the experience has been for you the last couple of years, what it's been like, working with us, and kind of your continued relationship with Brianna.
Well, Brianna is my highlight of my business. I'm able to meet my clients' needs and know that Brianna always has everything in order for me, which is absolutely fabulous. Facebook has been a definite plus, just staying in touch with people. I don't think that I share often enough what is actually going on in the real estate market. It's been a rough market the last couple of years with interest rates as high as they are. Many people moving out of California, many coming into California, many still first time home buyers. But definitely is different, and that is the pluses of having a experienced real estate agent that we know. I like to know the whole story of what you're looking for, what you need. Are you retiring? Are you just starting out? Are you going to stay there while your kids go to school? What are you going to homeschool? I mean, we don't need to worry about schools then. How much longer are you going to work? There's so many things that go into buying and selling a home, and I like to know all the details so that I can advise you best. It's very, very important to have the property prepared for the first day on the market, and the price is so important.
You know, your tagline that we actually drew out of that video we did a couple years ago was the realtor that truly cares.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been something that's been on your email signature ever since. It's something that we put onto every post. I want to take a moment to embarrass you and just show you. You know, here's the company page, and it's like, you know, I post some dumb stuff here and there and some little memes and videos and all that, and this is kind of like a funny house where the it looks like there's just red paint splattered all over the ground for some reason.
It's like a murder
You know,
scene.
yeah, it looks like exactly like a murder scene. But then all the real business. You know, here's our rainmaker right here. You know, this one that you just, you know, that you're selling, this one you're selling, this one you're selling. You know what I mean? And then there's just memes again from me, right? I just want to really clarify you when I say that this is our lead listing agent. I mean, she really, really knows what she's doing, and she truly cares.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to kind of get into the main topic for today is, what does it mean to truly care? I feel like, you know, there's a lot of people that don't even really understand what a real estate agent does, first and foremost, you know? And, you know, and I think that as we kind of talk about some of the things that make you special and talk about some of the different stories of recent transactions, I think it'll start to become very apparent the difference between somebody that truly cares and someone who's just, I don't know, in it for a paycheck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, why don't you kind of like give me off the top of your head, what are some of the thoughts that come to your mind when you think about truly caring, what it means to care?
Well, I just went viewing properties yesterday that were not my listings, another agent's listings. And it's so scary to me to think that he would just take the listing and slap it up, put a price on it they're never going to get. They're going to get beat up. Price coming in way low on the price, and then all the repairs that need to be done. There's just so many things that could have been done differently. So that hurts me. And that reminds me that I need to get out there to represent people. As far as a realtor and me going in, like I said, I look at the whole picture. I want to know your life. I want to know what's happening. How the first word that came to my mind, how desperate are you to get it sold? But not necessarily desperate. You know, where are you at? What's happening? So when my clients trust me and are honest with me, I'm able to help them even more. There's so many things that a realtor does do. I have had a couple of clients recently that are in financial difficulty. And I am very blessed, Doug and I are very blessed that we're in a place in our life where we have resources, we have savings to where I can actually help and know that I'm going to get reimbursed out of escrow when we sell the property. I never really thought about this before, but one of my clients told me, wow, you really have a lot of confidence that you're going to sell this, don't you? And yes, I do. If you listen to me and we do what I have put forth, then yes, it is going to get sold. And in saying that, because even without my clients needing help, automatically I pay for the photographer. I pay for a very high-end photographer. It's between $500 and $1,000 out of my pocket. I never ask for that back. I pay for my assistant, who is just 4 eyes. Now we have 6 eyes on the transaction. I never ask for that to be reimbursed. I just feel that that's part of what makes me and makes me a better agent for you. Paying even, a lot of people don't know when you move out of a homeowners association, you have to pay now it's a very large fee. It used to be $160, $360. The last one I just paid because the client didn't have it, $960. And that's out of my account for, 30 days, 60 days, however long the escrow is. But I know I'm going to get it back at the end when everything closes. So every transaction's different, and there's a lot that we put into it.
A lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And and now you guys are able to provide even more because you're doing it together.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you could kind of talk to me a little bit about, I guess, your decision to both work on this together, and kind of tell me a little bit about some of the experiences you guys have had so far working together.
I can. Obviously, I didn't get to talk about us getting back in touch on Facebook. Both of us had gotten off any online dating because it was just horrible.
That's very
We
true.
both committed that we're done. If God brought us somebody, he'd bring us somebody. And then we got in touch on Facebook. So there was already a little bit of trust established there because we had grown up in the same area. And we were both very, very lonely, had been living our lives, both of us working very hard, living our lives separately, both owned homes.
Well, and as parents too, I mean, you both have kids that, manage to get to adulthood. And
empty nesters, yes.
Empty nesters, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So we had already done that. His children are younger than mine, so I had already gone through that years before him. And he was just finishing up, and I was seeing the empty nest thing with him. Like every Saturday night, he'd take them out to dinner. Well, all of a sudden, they're not showing up anymore, and it's just him, So I know that lonely feeling. So
Sure.
all that to say, when he did come to California, he started working at the car dealership. And he sold his house in Nebraska, came to California, and started working at the car dealership. It was a shock for me because I would see him off. Well, he'd get up super early, go to the gym. I'd see him off to work, pack his lunch, come back at 6:30 at night every single week. And when he took vacation, because I like to take a lot of vacations, it would cost him so much money to go on vacation because he would lose the work.
It's commission pays.
So it came up where he could start helping me, and he's just learned more and more and more and taken his classes, and he's such a support for me. It brings safety to me. He adds even to the clients because if something needs to be fixed, he's super handy. So he helps us kind of, get stuff together. If something needs to be repaired at the house or, a fence needs to be fixed or something, then he's very, very handy. So we just add a lot together. And now it's like we work hard, we work a lot of hours, but we're together. And so it doesn't seem so much like work.
Sure.
Right. And I like to add that, and being in real estate, it gives us freedom to travel when we need to. Not just travel, but we're together. If two things need to be handled at one time, we could always go separate ways and get more things handled at the same time. And that's very helpful.
Yeah.
And it's not a 12-hour a day job or 14-hour a day job. It's sometimes 16, but it's not every single day.
Right.
No, and I've already seen how you guys have divided up labor, or be able to host multiple open houses at a time, or be able to tackle just more variety of different types of things. Because, right off the bat, he was much more comfortable with doing commercial leasing, doing like an office or retail lease. And, he just jumped right into it and started understanding all the contractual terms right away. And I know it's just not something you've ever really been interested in.
I like people.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, with the commercial, it's very similar to the car business. It's business. You have an objective to achieve. You get to that objective, and it's a smooth transaction that way.
Yeah.
And I think that helped tremendously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys recently closed one of the most complex transactions that we've yet had in our business. And, just wanted to kind of go over a little bit of a debrief. If you could, here we are. This was the post that we did about it. just it was a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
And boy, I mean, how long did it take you guys to do this one? And kind of, without sharing the private information,
Right.
can you talk about some of the complications that happened along the way?
Okay, I'd like to start real quick.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I would like to tell everyone, if you own a home, please put it in a trust. Do not let it go to probate. What a nightmare when the state gets involved. It's just totally unnecessary, and it's drawn out for at least a year. Please do yourself a favor and put your house in a trust.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had a friend who they even had a will in place,
Mhm.
and after the passing of their loved one, it still took almost a year to actually be able to get any of the funds out. And in the meantime, this poor widow, she didn't have enough liquid to be able to get by and to be able to pay for all the fees and everything. And so she started having to borrow money from friends and family to get by, even though all those resources were there.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, like, you don't necessarily have to, go straight to getting like a really big, fancy, expensive trust. I mean, like, trust can be had for a couple $1,000s, up to maybe about $5,000 or so.
I can add to that. Yeah.
You can make sure, like other solutions would be, just make sure that you and your spouse have, lots of joint bank accounts, joint, ownership on title, joint, things like that. So you can try to sort of mitigate some, like some of those things. But at the end of the day, there's just no substitute for talking to a good lawyer,
Right.
not just the cheapest internet lawyer, but like a good actual, face-to-face lawyer. I see these ads all the time for like, get a trust for $300 or something like that. It's like, just like it matters. Like, shop around your local area, get one, and make sure that those assets, because it'll, a few $1,000s now will save you literally tens of thousands of dollars
absolutely.
in probate fees,
More than
state
that,
fees,
yes.
and like all that other stuff.
More than that.
Yeah.
I will say with the trust, I had one recently that was done, not for me, for somebody that I know, that was about $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the trust attorney never put the property in the trust.
Mm.
That is something you can call me and ask me to look up for you. I can let you know the same day if your property was put in the trust.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, I also just had a trust done for a family member for $1,100 and made sure that the property got put into the trust.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different ways to go about doing it. This transaction, it was very unfortunate. He voiced what he wanted before he passed, but one of the siblings did not agree. And it cost the estate a lot of money. And it's very sad because I could see that this man was very frugal. He had a reverse mortgage where he could have taken out up to $400,000, and he only used $220,000 of that. And he used it to put it into the house. So it's just hard for me to see that someone who was so sensible with their money and his wishes were not carried out. In this transaction, though, I don't know that I would have been able to walk through it with Brianna and I on our own. Doug was a huge factor in this. He ended up going ahead and getting a letter from the personal representative. Once we had to get the personal representative, there was a lot that had to go through that. We found the attorney. But we got a letter from the personal representative that Doug could call the bank and speak on her behalf because there were so many phone calls that had to be made because of the reverse mortgage, because it was going into foreclosure. So Doug knew the numbers by heart. We could be driving down the freeway working on another transaction, and he was able to call the bank and tell them the numbers, get into the account, find out where we were, ask him for a postponement. So many things that went on with this transaction. So I'm already seeing the value of us working as a team.
Yeah. It was what, like total about 9 months, 10
I think
months?
it was 11.
11 months.
11 months.
Yeah.
And that was just to get through the court proceedings. Then there's still the settlement of the estate that has to go through the courts still also.
Yes.
So that's after the property was sold. It took us 11 months just to get it through escrow.
Right.
It was very, very time consuming, multiple court date appearances. Like you said, talk to the reverse mortgage company. I'm going to say dozens of times get postponements, because they wanted their money, and they had a right to their money.
Yeah.
So they didn't just foreclose on the property. We were able to at least postpone it, get the property sold. So at least the family got something out of it.
Yeah, honestly, this house had every possible complication. I mean, we had like multiple parties arguing, multiple family members involved. The bank was trying to take it. There was, lawyers that had to get involved. I mean, just every conceivable problem with this house, and you guys were able to navigate all of that. Yeah.
I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. And we just hang on until the very end and do all that we possibly can. I don't want to have a bad result for my clients. So this was the best possible that we could have had. In this case, we even had to have the buyer that was willing to put 10% of the value into escrow, and he had to leave it there. It was about 3 or 4 months of his cash sitting in escrow, because the minute we went before the judge, we had to have everything in order.
Yeah.
And
I know that there were a bunch of times where it looked like everything was going to fall through. Like I'd say every couple months I'd get some email or something from my wife saying that, some comment saying like, oh my gosh, it looks like that fell through, that one was done, or it turns out yeah. Because like at the end of the day, if the bank comes in and scoops it up, chances are the family gets nothing.
Oh,
nothing.
they would have gotten nothing.
They would have gotten nothing.
And so I mean, and this is how hard Kristan and Doug will fight to make something work. And this is not, by the way, this is not the sort of thing. They're not making the big bucks on this. Like the lawyers make, the lawyers make all the money on this. Right. The state makes all their money on this. And like, Kristan and Doug, like they just kind of get a little bit of what's left over.
It's the purpose of it. It was the principle.
Right. Yeah. The principle, and the heirs got something instead of nothing. Because if it would have just foreclosed, the bank would have gotten the whole entire property.
Yeah.
And then the heirs of the property would have gotten nothing. And so we fought hard for it for 11 months total. But it was a positive outcome. It was, nobody got rich, but at least somebody got something,
Yeah, exactly. So final thoughts. What does it mean to be a realtor that truly cares?
Well, I can attest from the short time I've been doing this with my wife. It takes a lot. The most important part is doing whatever it takes to get the property sold or bought, whichever direction you're going. Mm-hmm. We've touched base on a few of those things. They're not, all transactions are different. And knowing what to do each time and just getting it done. I mean, it's super important. And my wife touched base on it about knowing your customer, what their needs are. To truly care, you have to know what the person's need, and then going and making your decisions based on their needs.
Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think very, very true. And I think of a couple of clients that completely and utterly trust me. And it's hard because Doug will put the numbers of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Sometimes I don't explain so well, but when they completely trust me, I'm able to look at their whole picture and know what's going to be best for them, which to me, that's so valuable in today's time. You don't find many people that truly care, that you're hired to do a job. Let's do the job. And I need to know you, and I will always have your best interest at heart, but you have to know me to know that.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, and then that's what these videos are for.
Okay.
To really show how much you genuinely care, just in the stories about every single one of these, especially the really difficult transactions, right? Because like easy transactions, anyone can do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why the barriers to entry in this industry are so incredibly low.
Yeah.
Right.
Is because realistically, most transactions are actually pretty simple. Well,
in a good market, maybe. I mean, you put them up and they're gone, but no, that's not how it always is.
No,
that's true. That's true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I will say, reeling that back in a little bit, most transactions do have at least one little wrinkle, little something, which is why agents have to work for brokers for a while in order to kind of like learn the ropes from a more experienced person.
Yeah.
Or in this case, I'm the broker, but you're actually the one that I like to turn to sometimes for.
We make a good
experience.
team, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So, fantastic. And it really, it comes through in every one of your communications, all of our communications with your previous clients,
Yeah.
whenever those comments and things come in on social media and all that. I mean, people just have such amazing things to say about you and how much you truly care. And yeah, I hope
With,
that,
with with an amount of trust that you don't see every day. I
Right.
mean, people trust my wife.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's funny. I'll kind of say one more thing is that, there's different types of buyers and sellers. There's different types of real estate clients, right?
Yeah.
There are some who are very like, hard and fast numbers based, that sort of
Right.
thing. And then, there's just kind of a different culture, just different types of people that, they don't really want to get a degree in real estate here. Like they just want you to just
Right.
deal with it.
Do
for
it
them,
for
just
them.
do it,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I get
And
that.
for like, I mean, really, I mean, the two of you together can really deal with either type of client. But I just feel like it really shines with you when you're working with somebody that would like they don't want to know. They just want you to take care of
That is
it,
a conversation.
and they trust you to take care of
that
it.
is a
Right.
conversation that I've had because I always say that if a surgeon or an attorney can't break it down and explain it to you for you to understand, then they don't know their job well enough.
Correct.
So I always
That's
try to break it down so that my clients can understand. But then it comes to a point where I've had this conversation with clients. Do you want to know all of this or do you want me to just handle it? So
Yeah.
then I just handle it. I tend to get all the facts too and let them make decisions. So on buyers,
Well,
that's
And,
more.
and I can attest to there's lots of behind the scenes communications, escrow, lenders, inspections. There's so much going on behind the scenes that I would assume most buyers or sellers don't want the hands-on of all of that, I guess, chaos, because
Yeah,
it is chaos.
Sure. Well, and it's extremely stressful.
Yes.
It's extremely stressful. If you knew how many times today your deal almost fell through.
Well, do you know that a
Right.
client accidentally
You know.
got one of our email threads?
Oh, right. Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
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 Oh,
They told me
that
about
is
this.
a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
funny story. And she called me up and said, "Oh my God, what is happening?" That I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You weren't supposed to get that. But yes, it's already all taken care of." She's like, afterwards, she says, "Oh my gosh, I see why you guys make so much money." Which,
and that was like a 20 thread email chain.
Sure,
Oh,
sure.
And so it was like
Yeah.
lots of stuff,
There's a
and
lot,
and,
yeah.
and
and it
multiple
was all
to-
taken
yeah,
care of. Yeah.
all
Sure,
multiple topics, and everything was happening. By the time she called, it was already all
done.
ironed out.
Just all done.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So she says, "Now I feel very happy about the paycheck I'm giving you."
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not enough to just truly care.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? There's a lot of people who are freshly licensed, fresh out of college that care, but then also
But
having
yes.
experience, having the craft of
Yes.
knowing the trade.
Yes.
I mean, putting all those things together so that you can act on that care, act on that sympathy and kindness to really deliver
Yes.
what's best for your
Yes.
client. That is really the magic.
I'm really
Yes.
glad that you pointed that out because it's very true. You can go in caring, which I did in the beginning,
Mhm.
and I made sure that I had mentors that backed me up on everything. And then as I developed my business more and more, Brianna became a very big part of it because I saw that was something that I needed so that I can be my best, like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today as we talk to Doug and Kristan Hollibaugh, and to kind of learn a little bit more about what it means to truly care, and also some of the little sneak peek behind the scenes on how hard they really work and how much experience and work goes into delivering what people really want.
Yeah.
So thanks so much. Thank you guys for joining me
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you, Richard.
Awesome. All right. Find us on imaginationbroker.com. Once again, my name is Richard Whalen, owner and broker of the Imagination Brokerage. Thank you so much.